For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open, the eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed, the head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward, the gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt, truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching, the voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple, all you sow you reap. The soul of truth is flaming, the heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
What has been trending on social media over the last few hours, very embarrassing. Talking about a spat between two women from the south of the island. Where are the feminists, women's rights activists in St. Lucia to intervene in this and to say, enough is enough. You all are two young, beautiful, supposedly intelligent women. Please stop that feuding, which is definitely unnecessary and will not benefit you in any way at all. But it's also degrading. All that and more coming up on this afternoon's NewsSpin program. What is the latest happening at the office of the DPP? Continue to focus on that fiasco at the St. Jude Hospital. 13 years after the fire which destroyed the health institution and claimed several lives. I'll be hearing from you as well at 452-2979, 452-2979, along with your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. My name is Timothy Poleon. Very overcast and wet on the outside. It's either good weather for some people, and in other cases, it's bad weather. It depends. We're going up until 2 o'clock this afternoon. Our NewsSpin Facebook question of the day. What does this St. Jude Hospital fiasco say about us? What does this St. Jude Hospital fiasco say about us? And you might ask the question rhetorically, what does that have to do with me as an individual in Dennery, in Castries, in Asleray, over in Marigot, even in Miku, or even in V4? Well, this fiasco occurred under our watch. We have been there, we've been listening to the news, we've been going through the travails of hearing about report after report, and we've been hearing from the various prime ministers on this matter. Stephenson King, at the time of the fire, we heard from him. We then heard from Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony making promises along with his health minister. We heard from Mr. Alan Shastney and his health minister, as well as the economic affairs minister, Mr. Guy Joseph. And now, today, the 21st of September, 2022, still no St. Jude Hospital. What is very much in existence, what we continue to grapple with, is the whole discussion, is the whole controversy surrounding St. Jude and whether we should be utilizing the building that was constructed by the Alan Shastney administration, or whether we should go back to the old building, etc., etc. By the way, we'll be discussing this St. Jude matter this evening on DBS's Newsmaker Live at 8:30. In the meantime, we on NewsSpin, we continue to focus on this embarrassment. I should feel ashamed. I should feel I'm responsible. Likewise, you, and particularly you, the residents of the south of the island, because you, more than most of us, is being impacted because we have something we call St. Jude Hospital existing at a stadium. And I know many people have concurred over the last several years since, of course, we had COVID-19 and what the Chinese did, constructing hospitals within the space of about a few weeks, and they have been functioning in a very professional manner. We believe that we can do the same in St. Lucia, yes, but in this case, we set about this ambitious task of constructing a state-of-the-art hospital. And it's been 13 years, and yet still we have nothing to show for it, but we have a bill, a huge bill. We have spent millions of dollars to construct that building, but to no avail. So I believe we are all responsible, but more so the governments, the prime ministers, the ministers of health, etc. And that is why I'm asking the question today: what does this St. Jude Hospital fiasco say about us? And I'll go through some of your responses. And somebody says there, we are a people who believe in corruption, either it be UWP or SLP. Once it is benefiting us, we don't have a problem with it. Another person says we put party before country and our well-being. Another response, our low IQ said it all. St. Lucia is so backward, it's a shame. Another person said, Gigi said it all, Tim. Have nothing more to add, but well said, very true about our people. Another person comments, we put party before health. Another person says that we are our own enemy and we are the ones standing in the way of our progress. Another person comments, not a word, not a word, not a word, not one, words. Another person comments and says, let's face it, Tim, we are dirty, dishonest people and our politicians know it. Some of your comments, let me see if I could go through another one. Hospital been there for donkey years without fence, renovated after the fire without fence, now one built without fence, this administration coming with fencing just to fool some. St. Lucia will be part of the new hospital, be broken down to put back the two buildings that were taken down to build the new hospital. Fencing, fencing, fencing on an 80-year-old building. This is not laughable, but I can't help myself. Another person says, sorry to say, but St. Lucia is a big pappy show, not a real place. So a lot of your comments to go through, but I'll not be able to read all of them. And so, September 2013, then Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony made reference to what it would cost to complete the St. Jude Hospital. But in the process, he also gave an undertaking. Let's listen to the former Prime Minister and MP for V4 South.
That hospital will end up costing the government of St. Lucia $130 million. And you know what? I will find it. We are finding it. And we will do so because we are determined that the people of the South get a hospital that they truly deserve. That hospital will end up costing the government of St. Lucia $130 million. And you know what? I will find it. We are finding it. And we will do so because we are determined that the people of the South get a hospital that they truly deserve.
So what they have there now, what passes for a St. Jude Hospital, and that is at the stadium, is what the people of the South deserve. Because if that's what they have to live with, if that's where they're receiving medical treatment, and so many people in the South, like the North, normally would find themselves in vehicular accidents, crashes and collisions, and also there would be physical assaults, and people have to seek treatment, medical treatment there. That's what they're receiving, and maybe that is truly what they deserve. One person definitely we should live out of this whole responsibility as far as St. Jude Hospital is concerned, because she has demonstrated that she wants something done about it. Even though people are questioning her motives, I'm referring there to Angela, mounted this one-woman march just a few months ago, and then other people joined, and we have not heard anything from her. I don't know if she has gotten so depressed or despondent, frustrated, and she does not see the need for her to mount this one-woman campaign that she has given up. But she demonstrated clearly that she is aggrieved, and she believed that this is unacceptable, and she wanted to display her disgust. She wanted to call on the authorities to move expeditiously to rectify that anomaly, that embarrassment, if you want to call it that, because I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this broadcast right now have been following NewsSpin over the last several years, who have been listening. They too are dumbfounded, they're confused, because they would have imagined that by now any responsible, any caring government in any part of the world would have completed this assignment. But the governments have failed us, and in the process we have also failed ourselves. Just before I got on the air, I received a call from a source that employees at the DPP office, the DPP office is located on Miku Street, just opposite the Derek Walcott Square. The staff there, they have been asked to stay at home as of today, and that is because the AC unit has not been functioning for a little over 1 year, among other problems the employees there have been experiencing. I did not get to the part about other problems because we had to rush on the air, but I'm informed again that employees at the DPP office, they are not at work today, primarily because, among other things, poor working conditions. The AC unit at the DPP office has not been functioning for over a year now. So if at the time we had the AC unit functioning, if at the time some of the other problems were not were not existing at the time, and the DPP office was not delivering to the people and ensuring that certain matters before it were attended to, can you imagine what will happen with the many cases that are before the DPP at this point in time? Those will continue to languish, to be in abeyance, and they will continue to be matters to be addressed within the next few months. That's a few months. Next few decades, maybe the next few decades. But we hope that, on a serious note, that everything will be attended to at the DPP office, so that the employees can return to work there, and we could have the justice system functioning a little bit better. Because the DPP office, they're charged with a huge responsibility. They have so many cases that they have to attend to. I could imagine that you have several files, several matters to be investigated, so many evidence to go through to determine how you're going to advise the police on the way forward. And definitely we do not want this thing to drag on for an eternity. Let's take your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979 with your calls and the WhatsApp messages 716-2026. The 716-2026. We already have a caller line. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Yeah, about St. Jude, the speech you gave there in 2014, Dr. Terry Anthony had just borrowed $60 million, right? The question I want to ask, remember between 2014 and 2014, there were donor countries who donated millions to St. Jude. I would like you to tell us how much money in all, right, these donor countries contributed. Okay, now that's the question. That's not what I call for. My contribution is about the agriculture. Okay, now there's something I wrote. Sometimes you have to write things before you forget. By the time you forget half of the things. Okay, about agriculture, that's my topic. Right? What I want to ask is about how many more kicks and insults must our farmers get on foreign farms, right? To tell those farmers what time it is, because they are heavily divided and seriously fight each other. That's the question for the farmers, right? Again, how many more kicks and insults, just how even spit they're going to spit on the farmers, must our farmers get on foreign farms to let the present and past agriculture ministers, Ezekiel Joseph, Moses Jean-Baptiste, and this one there now, know what time it is, right? Because they have no vision, right? Because they keep flogging a dead horse, which is bananas. What happens when there are heavy rains, strong winds, and drought? Tell us what happened to the banana industry. We all know, right? You have the 7 crop project, which can be very valuable, right? You can target areas around the country where those crops can grow best, and you can create mega agriculture projects, which I've said many times, right? Where at least some 3,500 persons can be employed, enough to export, to create profit, and also to reduce our food import bill by about 35 to 40%. All that can be done, but where is the vision of those last 3 agriculture ministers? Have a good day.
Okay, thank you so much. This individual has been very consistent, calling NewsSpin for maybe close to a decade now, and continuously focusing on agriculture and the need for our governments and our ministers with responsibility for agriculture to invest more in that sector. And that is long before we started talking about the problems with the supply chain, food shortages, and with inflation and things of that nature. We have another call, as we say, via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Please go ahead with your contribution, caller. Good afternoon.
Mr. Poleon, good afternoon. How are you, sir?
I'm okay, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Okay. Yesterday I noticed you had 1 or 2 people who were attempting to stand in defense of defense. I'm speaking of St. Jude. It's amazing, Timothy, after 13 years of this project being in abeyance, that what would be presented to us by the Prime Minister as a phase of the project, and apparently it's been accepted by some, is fencing. You know, 13 years after a first phase of the project involves fencing.
So where are the comedians? Where are the comedians in St. Lucia? Where are the comedians in St. Lucia?
Well, I don't know. I guess there are those who are trying to stand in defense of defense.
Yeah.
So you are aware, let me try to go the pathway of my friend Rick, you know, who normally interrogates you before he gets into the meat of what he has to say. You are aware that there was some sort of committee put in place of professionals who did a study, okay? And from our basic layman standpoint, Timothy, would you agree with me that one of the main arguments or basis for such a study would be a cost-benefit analysis. Would you agree with me?
Yes, ought to be, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So are you aware, Timothy, that the report that was done does not address the issue of costing whatsoever? And if you don't want to believe me, listen to the way the Prime Minister answered, you know, the recent interface with the media when he was asked what would be the cost. He didn't respond. He couldn't respond. He said, oh, well, it's with infrastructure and they have to review and look at it, etc. One would expect a committee of such eminent persons, engineers, etc., in doing a report like that after, 13 years, would do a cost-benefit analysis and say, look, this is what it would cost to complete the new structure, and this is what it would cost to do the old structure. So 13 years after, that is not clear, and we have to, and I'm not questioning the integrity of the Prime Minister, we have to go by his word, okay, that the committee said that it would be better to go back to the old St. Jude. Did the Prime Minister present any arguments, any specific arguments as to why that was the way to go?
But I don't think the people involved, had a background in finance, okay? So you had the architect, Mr. Mark Hennicott, and then you had some engineers, and also you had a building contractor. And you did not have anybody with background in finance and accounting and so on. So that's why maybe he was not in a position to tell you what it would cost on web.
You asked me about comedians a while ago. No, I don't want to venture there, but I want to argue again, wouldn't such a study justify the need for the inclusion of this kind of expertise? 13 years after. So where are we going? I mean, we are a famous country, you know, the most Nobel laureates, you know, what is it now?
Per capita.
Per capita.
Yeah.
Right? We are the only nation in this world that has contention insofar as the color of its flag, you know, which is the highest symbol of nationality. And here now, we are going at it again. The nation which will go down on record as taking, 13, 14, 15, 16 years to complete a medical infrastructure, to rehabilitate a medical infrastructure. I mean, I resist calling the talk shows because, you know, after so much time, you kind of you're frustrated. Because, you know, we're going back and forth and there's hardly anything being achieved. St. Jude is a typical example going back and forth as a political football, and we're not addressing what has to be addressed. Part of the frustration, Timothy, in another place, in terms of, you know, trying to foster discourse and discussion, the frustration of trying to deal with professionals to come on board to discuss St. Jude and other national issues. Everybody's tight-lipped or scared. You know, for some reason or the other, you try to engage professionals. Hey, can you come on board to discuss this? And they're all scared. Everybody's shying away. So where are we going? Oh, my God. You know, our current Calypso monarch sang a song, calling all saints in defense of St. Jude, and I think he gave a timeline of November in his song as a timeline that if nothing substantial is done, there would be protests. Well, let's see what happens with that. But I really cringe. I'm crying and suffering for St. Jude in terms of what is going on. But I'm just in amazement, Timothy. 13 years after a first phase of a failed project is putting up a fence, and there are people who are in defense of that. Thank you, Timothy.
Thank you so much. I think we have another call via WhatsApp as we say hello and good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello. Hello, good afternoon. We will try again. Let's say good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. Hello.
Tim.
Yes, sir.
Let's say the last time the current bill will go down this month. Tim, I told him, He said, go long, it didn't go up on my bill. I know what was in that. Last month I paid 270 something last month. 290 something last month. No, 297 last month I paid. This month I paid 299. So inside go long, it go up again. You know? Tim there right at all. It's like people mind. Look at people the bill go long small pen go long at all. You say go long pop. You know? Tim, and what else again, Tim? Should I send you thing? We solutions that are very serious because we can't go back to our old send you 80 years plus. You know what I mean? Then you can look at a sense. Let's go on to the new thing we have there, the box. That's how they call it, the box. Let's go to the box and complete the box and finish it up. Because when you have 26 section of building, 26 portion of building, different section, that makes sense. Only nurses have to put that building going down there. If everything fall in a day, there's problem for nurses and doctors. You know, let's say everything can live one building. Thank you, Tim.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. What is happening in the chat room in terms of your discussions? Let me see if I could go through some of your comments. Everyone from the diaspora gave contribution towards that hospital. Where did the money go to? But wants to call Shasni names. So hot. All right, that's in the chat room. Good afternoon, NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Yes, Tim. I'm calling again because I want to attack the police team. When I say attack, not anything hostile. I love the police, bad. Now I want to attack the traffic police for the Maryfield Grosley Highway, and I'll continue to do that until I see them making an effort, Tim. Tim, it's over a year they have not assisted us on that Maryfield Grosley Highway, Tim. At one time the police had done such an immaculate job. It would take us 20 minutes, Tim, to get from the north to town. Tim, it has just gone back to 45 minutes to an hour. I want the police to show their faces, Tim. The police need to come along that route to help out the commuters, Tim. I know the police can do it. They have done it before, and it worked. They spoke to the people around. They put their signs, Tim. I want the police to come around and manage the traffic on the Maryfield Grosley Highway, Tim.
Okay, caller. All right. Thank you so much. WhatsApp call as we say hello and good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Yeah, I'm calling as usual. I'm calling from the UK. But on WhatsApp, je parle anglais, c'est pas ton parler. Timothy, je voulais me demander une question. Qui m'a tapé pour l'airport là? Airport là, qui capte du split between the. Qui laisse taper pour l'airport là? Qui m'a coupé pour l'airport là?
About different agreement, ça qui un bas flambeau, yo devlé c'est mon qui ka.
Non, moi ça agreement, moi just voulais me bailler la simple pour tout le monde understand. Qui laisse qui paye pour l'airport là? C'est qui paye pour lui, eh ben nous ka travel qui gagne ticket tous les l'année, tous les 6 mois.
Ça yo devlé faire c'est mon qui ka travel avant.
Exactement. Bon, qui mon SLP, les bas partis qui a fait ces moun quoi, dit primaire parce que bill là pas qu'à les côté on les simplifier. Timothy, qui c'est compagnie qui ni dit là, qui c'est simplifier qui ni dit là, it coming to the same thing still c'est moun ka travel qui paye, but benefit là qui en de là Timothy. Si c'est simplifier qui ni, si prix moun travel simplifier qui ni gagne là. But sous ma compagnie en ligne, si prix mon travel compagnie qui ni gagne là. Ça simple pour understand. Si profite là Timothy, on nous peut profiter là pour qui ça ouvre bien compagnie li. Il bon tellement Timothy ou quoi compagnie qui pour un deal, il pas en profiter dedans. Timothy sur une compagnie ou pas pour un deal ou pas en gagner dedans.
Well, ça gouvernement cadre, il pas veut prendre un gros loan pour mettre ça à subir la nuit.
Même ça n'a pas le pour même question. L'on n'a pas ça gouvernement, l'on mon ka travel. It's simple to understand. L'on n'a pas ça c'est chrétien. 1% c'est plus qu'à travel. Eh bien, 0.5% c'est plus qu'à travel. L'on c'est nous qui l'autre pays qui a travel tous les années, whatever qui a payé l'on. Ça, Timothy, à l'antique l'indité, l'organe qui a 1000 pounds, 1005. Timothy, il a 1000 pounds. 1000 pounds c'est pour taxe, c'est 10 fois bail. Different thing, and 500 pounds for the care. But I understand Timothy, what I'm saying, Sanadiabu, Sonia Company, est-ce qu'on peut dire ou pas ni profit en day?
Personne ne peut pas faire rien. Yo pas jeune à pas
c'est pas ça que je dis là. C'est bon, il faut que la compagnie ait le point. Timothy, vous understand si la a pas fait là. Il a fait ça, là, c'est là avant, le SLP dans le gouvernement, il va s'apprêter là, whatever. Il regarde sans fouchi, mais ça, vous understand ça. Mais après l'argent là, juste continuer le projet là. N'importe profit là qui vient de gagner pour nous, il va y avoir une compagnie là. Qu'est-ce qui fait c'est pour ça? C'est ce qui m'a fait ça bien fait pour comprendre. Tu m'as fait ou gagner un caille pour faire ou gagner fait caille là-bas. Ou gagner fait caille là-bas tout là pour faire caille là et pour le caille là pour 40 years et bah oui after. Comme moi ça le caille là n'importe là moi vraiment. Moi ça le 10,000 a month. And 90 là moi within 10 years, 5 years moi à là. So tout c'est là on a fait profiter là. Moi ça fait 2 caille 3 caille laisse profit là. Laisse l'année là. Ça bien fait pour understand. Ma understand c'est pour ça tu m'as fait là hier. Là, on te dit topic là, about l'hôpital là, about de l'hôpital là, moi, t'es à Tahaï. Là, moi, quitte Tahaï, moi, dit, moi, faut te sauver. Moi, dit, Oxford Street, en Angleterre, c'est un please busy street là, en Angleterre, Oxford Street. Et moi, interview about 100 to 110 moun. Et tu m'as fait 2 moun tout seul qui supportaient pour l'hôpital là qui nous ouvre des zombies. Pour moi, des zombies, pour que ça, il supporte certains drugs articles, mais des zombies, mon cas, c'est des drugs. Moi, pour que ça, il supporte des bléas. Mon bail chaque tour. Où ça, vous regardez moi, il a pris accès pour aller dormir. Si vous voulez dormir, il s'est entouré en building là, bléa, plus aisé, passer building 9 là. So, vous regardez moi, si vous choose a million%, definitely building 9 là, primaire. Et building bléa, parce qu'il a choose les bouillons réseau. Des zombies parce qu'il a aisé access pour aller dormir. Tu m'as fait qu'on est à 100 years et 50 years, ou quoi quitter pour un bail 9. Tu m'as fait si la bonne machine 9, un motocar 9, et une vieille machine, tu sais quoi bon. No matter qui, si la bonne petit motocar 9, et une bonne 4x4, qui ni 20 years, tu sais quoi bon.
Délai pour un bail 9 et qui est défectif, hein? Délai ni toi, pas jamais ça?
No matter what, non, tu m'as fait pas venir ça. No matter what, ou quoi tous 9 là. Pas venir ça, regardez-moi là. No matter what, même si 9 là, il y a un problème en 2 years, but on est plus confident. On est 99% confident en les ça qui 9 là. Parce que ça qui n'est à 20, 40 years là.
Ok.
Simple to understand.
Ok.
Simple to l'hôpital là, si vous voulez me sortir des 3 portes bon, hack l'hôpital là, l'hôpital chez l'Angleterre, un seul l'hôpital chez qui était l'Angleterre, East London était, by Victoria Park. Il 7 fois plus mais parce que tout l'hôpital c'est plus fini. Et puis mon fils, il y a un client, il dit pas fit pour l'hôpital. Et l'hôpital là, mais parce que tout building qui se plus ici. Et puis il dit pas fit pour l'hôpital. Bon, qui m'a dit que ça veut vivre en dedans qui ni 70 years, 80 years. Et moi, ça c'est pour toi, si vous voulez, dans le matin, n'importe quoi. Et n'a pas pour toi, pour mener l'hôpital là, on pousse dans le tête. Et tu as un client, il dit pas fit pour l'hôpital. It's not fit. Et c'est un seul hôpital tchè qui est l'Angleterre. Et tu spread toutes ces autres bails là, toutes différentes hôpitaux. Si on mis en attaque à poser, on peut aller dans l'hôpital et d'aller dans le côté hospital. Il ne pas aller là parce que il y a un client, parce qu'il n'est pas fit. Et puis le premier, tout le building qui se passe ici, là, tu es pour toi, on est pour jouer dans la vraie, bon, tu m'as fait pour.
Ok. Ok, merci beaucoup. All right. Kakuye from l'Angleterre. C'est lycée qui a resté en l'Angleterre. Still to come. More of your calls and your WhatsApp messages. You are watching NewsSpin on our NewsSpin Facebook page. Also on YouTube, NewsSpin SLU. We're on Power 97.9 FM. And also we are on TuneIn. Stay with us.
Bundle, yeah. Bundle, floor. Bundle, save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Pose all you want.
Win big with Flow. Tickets to the biggest shows, water park passes, costumes, over $20,000 in cash, data, and more. Activate a 3, 7, or 30-day combo plan. Pay up your bill, switch to Flow, bundle up your chance to win every day.
Bundle, yeah. Bundle, save. Tap up, yeah. Tap up, mad. Tap up. Look at the place covered. Browse all you want. Pose all you want. Look at the place covered. Do what you want. Watch what you want.
Bundle now and get a smartphone for only $99. Switch now.
Contact Luselect before trimming or cutting down trees that are near overhead electrical wires. Watch out for power lines before you begin working on a ladder. Be sure that ladders or scaffolds are far enough away so that you and the ends of the tools you're using don't come within 10 feet of power lines. And never use any electrical appliance in wet surrounding outdoors or in the rain.
This message is brought to you by Luselect, the power of caring.
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliotheque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road V4 at 454-6555.
There is no better symbol of independence than your very own vehicle. With First Wheels from First National Bank, we offer a very competitive interest rate with rapid approval and 100% financing on new vehicles. Enter your state of independence with a First Wheels vehicle loan from First National Bank. Visit or call us at 455-7000 or 455-7127 to book your appointment today. First National Bank, here for you.
Watching NewsSpin right here on our NewsSpin Facebook page. We are also on YouTube, NewsSpin SLU, as well as on Power 97.9 FM. We don't focus only about issues relating to St. Jude, the poor state of the economy, unemployment, the plight of cohort of workers we sent over to Canada. We also focus on some domestic disputes involving, for example, 2 women over in the south of the island. That the authorities will intervene. We have human services. We have those various organizations looking after the interest of women. We have the women activists. Catherine Seeley's my good friend. Maybe place a call to the folks over in the south, those 2 women in particular, and try and see if you could put some peace. Because who knows, this thing can escalate to the point where somebody will get hurt or somebody will be killed. You never know. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon to you, caller.
Hello, Tim.
Yes, good afternoon to you, caller. You are on the air.
Yes, bonjour.
Muy bien. Ça fait?
Bonjour, tout le monde qui a écouté.
Tim,
moi, je presque 7 pour 8 l'année pour y mettre un septic tank cantonnement. Up to now, personne encore les gens de garde.
Vous découillez about ça l'autre jour, comment?
N'a toujours.
Oui.
L'hôpital neuf là, il est déjà fait. Moi, couillé. Moi, dis, les plaques qui a descendu, bon là, l'année des pipes qui sont à Saint-Jude, car les bon la mer. C'est pas qu'à travailler. Si vous avez fait l'hôpital là, sur 7 ans, on a des questions qui côté Sokawe, l'eau Sokawe a aller, parce que pas l'hôpital là, il y a 5 moun qui a été, et l'année moun qui a fait des jardins. Personne ne va répondre. Tim, UDC, NDC, Planning, Wasco, c'est eux qui dégalent Saint-Jude à terre comme ça. Pipe là, quand descend la mer, je vais mettre pièce 20 feet, your side, 25 l'autre side pipe là. Yo 20 yo croisé ces manholes là, yo build kayan laissé pipe là. So c'est pipe ça pas qu'à travail. Si on me dit, qui m'a fait ça travail, si c'est l'hôpital ça pas ni 7 petits ans pour eux, qui m'a dit de ça flou, aller de ce côté. Moi, prêcher ça. Je fais une blague, je fais un truc à des yeux, non, vraiment, je peux dire. Et moi, je sais qui s'en a parlé à votre là, Tim. Tim, il y a un monde aller à l'hôpital à dire comme ça. Dans la Siline, si les événements là, il a touché tête. Ça pas Siline, Tim. Ça c'est la porte. Finette au hook en lézard, avec les hurricanes qui drop ces finettes ça. C'est toute la porte pour entrer ce road là, c'est double door. Quand on a allé tout dans la porte, et tu fais un side, il y a un side, il est trop petit. C'est moi qui dis l'hôpital a pas pour virer l'hôpital. Après, il y a un colchis sur le temps en marteau. Et il pète ma sonnette dit, di mucho moun ki kote mason nan week so dat l'hôpital la a ka fan l'hôpital. Chik toujours personne parle mais c'est petit temps là. Because l'autre ka vie mouton l'hôpital là. So on a quitté là pour ce moun parler because moi ça radio moi connais ça radio.
Okay, merci beaucoup. Thank you so much for your contribution, caller. Let me turn my attention to the chat room in terms of some of your comments. What are you discussing there? Because I really do not want to leave you out of the discussion. But in the meantime, 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. All right, somebody says that St. Jude and the airport are the same when it is raining. And let's see if we have some more comments. Somebody says there, I never said I wasn't a hack. I'd rather be a UWP hack than be an SLP hackass any day. Some of the things those people discuss in the chat room. All right, let's see if we have a WhatsApp. I think we have a call. Let's see. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, Timothy.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to you.
When I listen to the Prime Minister speak about St. Jude, and I well listened to him, and I listen carefully. I don't think the Prime Minister really wants to go back to the old St. Jude. I think he wants to do something good for St. Lucia and wants to take the new one. But something happening to him. And I don't think he has no choice but to tell us that he's going back to the old St. Jude. I listened to his words carefully and I could feel the empathy in the words, the way he sounded and the way he was saying it. Like there was some coldness, sadness in it within the words he was saying. And like, I don't know. And St. Jude, St. Lucians are quiet about St. Jude and we need to take our lives seriously. I think the other countries in the world are laughing at us because we cannot be having our government upon the government playing with our life. We cannot have that going on. And I think the Prime Minister wanted to continue the new hospital. It's true he said it might cost us more and to go back to the old one, but I really believe. And one thing I wish to get, that you, Timothy or Rick Wayne, have a debate with the leader of the opposition and the Prime Minister. And I want them, not in Parliament, I don't want them to be in Parliament. I want a debate between the leader of the opposition and the Prime Minister, and to bring the facts with all the evidence and papers and tell us. I want the leader of the opposition to have his evidence in front of him and the Prime Minister to have his evidence of him and question him and have the people to question them and let us know the truth about St. Jude. Because right now there we have crime in the country. The crime escalating in the country. And we wonder why, what is happening to us in St. Lucia? God is watching above. And just remember, it is St. Jude. St. Jude. We are paying for St. Jude. Thank you, Timothy.
All right, thank you so much. Imagine you have a home that's being under construction for 13 years. And I know somebody will tell me that a home and a health institution, those are two separate structures. In the case of a hospital, you need to be more meticulous. There are certain specifications that you must meet, certain standards that you must meet. But let's just, for a moment there, simplify the whole thing and say, you have a home under construction for, let's say, about 10 years, and the contractor to now cannot deliver. In the meantime, you are spending so much money and you have nothing to show for it. I think that is what exactly we are going through in St. Lucia at this time. With regard to a debate between the leader of the opposition and the Prime Minister on St. Jude, that will not happen. You will say, well, let me pick this particular individual to be the moderator. That's very easy. And moderator might agree to preside over a discussion of that nature. But the two individuals, I don't think that they will agree to appear on the same stage and to discuss this whole matter and to present evidence to the public so that members of the public can make up their mind on this particular issue. Because in St. Lucia, what we are noted for is to have the opposition forces on one side, whether it's on, in this case now, the William Peter Boulevard, they'll be taking their case to their supporters. Then the government side will be on the market steps, taking their case to their supporters there, and they will be unchallenged, just playing to the galleries. In the end, people will be confused, but they'll be their bases. What they'll be doing is basically, playing to the bases and the various supporters, and they'll be satisfied with this. But to have something whereby, particularly people who are not partisan, can make a determination as to who is speaking the truth or not, I don't think that politicians in St. Lucia want to subject themselves to that level of scrutiny. We have a call. Good afternoon, NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Timothy, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Timothy, yesterday I heard you call some names that were involved in the people that were...
Hello? Yeah, the committee appointed, and that basically advised the government to go to the older structure as opposed to the new hospital. Yes, caller. Oh, I think we lost the caller. 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. In the chat room, somebody says, and the person is recommended, I think we need outside assistance when it comes to the St. Jude Hospital reconstruction project. And I agree, because people have tried on so many occasions, our people in St. Lucia, and they continue to fail. Why not do something totally different? Good afternoon, NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Yeah, I got disconnected, Timothy.
Yes, it has nothing to do with us. Go ahead.
Okay, what I'm saying then, I only hope that these task force, these people are not putting their reputation in question, or they're doing or that report they give there is because of political revenge. That is my concern. Because remember, these people are only architects. They are not construction workers. Because going back to that old building, Timothy, supposing the work start back on that building and then they tell you they have this fault, they have that fault, they have that and what, and it's going to cost more on that. And the other thing I'm saying, why don't spend money on something that will last us another 50 years or so than spend money on something that will last us another 10 years or so. Yesterday I had the other one beating all around the place, Shasi talking about that is not leaking and whatnot. Timothy, you make a roof, you put your cladding, it does not have the flashing yet, water will come down. Because there is no finishing end, there is no finishing touch to what was going on there yet. Timothy, it is my field of work, and with all the people that call in and all of them about blah, 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 and this there and blah, 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 as if they know anything about construction work, none of them cannot tell you, Timothy. You understand? So I'm saying it again. Because remember that saga with that square in Sufre involving Hennicat, right? Mm-hmm. When the UWD came in. So I only hope that they're not doing that because of political revenge. Or if it's their profession they put in for people to question. I only hope that they did what they were supposed to do when they said that it is more economical to go back to the old building than the new building. You see, when we hear this thing, people just call and say all kind of things. People have to be careful with this thing. The person that was leading that task force to see about which hospital is the best to go back to, remember the Sufre saga with the UWP. That's all what I have to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I would hate to believe that a government would appoint a special committee to perform a task that would be given terms of reference, and that committee would be coming up with a conclusion primarily because it wants that to be getting the approval of the people who give it that responsibility in the first place. So if I'm given a responsibility or a task to perform by an individual, I don't want to do it professionally as opposed to just wanting to please the individual who gave me that responsibility. That certainly would not be fair to the person, because if you give me a task, it's because you cannot perform it. That is not your area of expertise. So I would like to believe that committee that came up with the recommendation that the government should go back to the old building, that it did so taking everything into consideration, and that is after it had done its due diligence and made a fair assessment of the situation. Good afternoon, NewsSpin, you're on the air. Hello, yes sir, good afternoon to you.
Yes, Timothy, I've been trying to get you since yesterday. Imagine, sometimes I'll be frustrated.
Okay.
I'm trying to get
You
the
got
line. Most people are making good contribution.
Yeah.
Most contribution positive, most of them is really negative.
Okay.
Now let me tell you, I cannot too agree with the last caller there, which I know him. He works in radio just like you. You know, that is Jeremy. He knows what he's talking about. He's so right. You know? All the big fuss we are making about St. Jude. Let me tell you something. We are the laughing stock of the world. You need to tell me 13 years. Okay? There is countries, that hospital would have burned underneath them between a year or two. It would have been be back on stream. 13 years. Okay? And people want to blame Pierre. Pierre was in position, you had your position for 25 years. He just get in. Okay?
He was in opposition for, no, hold on, caller. He was in opposition for 25 years?
I mean, he was, let's say he
that's not true. That's not true.
Okay, and he get in. Okay, and he get in now as Prime Minister. Okay? What about all the money, my money passing that St. Jude thing? Okay? All the money was squandered. All the money was squandered. They're going to blame him for that. So if he say he's going back to the whole thing, there is no money. La pani l'argent. There is no money. There is no kind of money. And everybody is blah, 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 blah. And there is somebody in his cabinet who was the Minister of Health. The hospitals burn underneath them.
But the minister,
millions and
the minister of infrastructure, you mean, Mr. King?
I don't want to go there because I have a problem with him because he's owing my cousin millions.
Okay, caller. Let's not go into that.
So let me tell you something. It is high time. 13 years. Okay. International airport is your fault. What about you have all the big jets landing there? If there is a crisis, what is happening? You going to call Matnik to help you? It is the same way. Okay, EU, they had a problem to open it. If it wasn't for the virus, they would never open it. Okay? They would never open it. And thanks God, VH was there to put the people that had the coronavirus there. Okay? Up to now, 13 years, man. Come on, man. Come on. I sick and tired about it as a citizen of St. Lucia. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you so much. So finally, the outreach from members of the St. Lucian public as far as the St. Jude Hospital Reconstruction Project is concerned. And you have people making reference to the fact that 13 years after the fire, that we cannot have a proper health institution in the south of the island, the structure I'm talking about, to replace the old one that was destroyed by fire. And we continue to talk about, for example, the plight of the patients and also the plight of the workers of that hospital. They have to try to do their best in terms of convalescing and in terms of executing their duties at a sporting facility, the stadium, George Odlum Stadium. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you are on the air. Oui, bon après-midi.
Oui, moi viens aujourd'hui because whereby l'hôpital ça really can concern moi. Et moi still like moi changer les moi te garder untold stories là. Yo te dit qu'on chaque là yo te ka moucher yo ka fait yo pas tenir pièce plan, yo ka venir yo ka dit yo briser un wall là. Yo ka fait en séparation là, yo ka fait un wall. You can make it tiles, you can make it this, you can faire un lot chambre là. You pas une pièce plan, you just can dit. Tous les jours, you aller en dedans because c'est contractor qui te ka dit ça. Tous les jours, you aller, you can hand directive from a doctor, et ben on l'autre monde ka dit yo qu'on pour faire this là. Tant pour les soins, you can aller, même wall là, you fait. Les soins, you pas vle faire la journée pour mon ouais. You can aller les soins, you can croiser, et que là you fini, you can dumpli. Est-ce ça pas là qui te ka gaspillé? A dit dans même ça fait tout ça. Et tout ces bail là qui fait c'est pour ça là ni pipe plumbing pipe qui ka prendre en les qui pas mettre bien et toutes sortes qualité bagaille qui ka aller. So ça c'est on quand yo ka dit en anglais on cache ka qui là. So là yo vie aller en les même qualité bagaille ça là. Même c'est bail ça kay fait yo kay venir yo kay dit on wall bousin fait là, on dis bousin fait là, la pas une pièce pour check pour ça qui aller là, so là, un cas just pomper en dit dans Saint-Just. Nous pas vle ça, nous a là ça, nous vle l'hôpital à côté qui te ka build là new Saint-Just là, nous vle ça là côté kon accountability te ka fait et nous te ka ouais bagay te ka fait at record time, nous vle ça là. Qui ni transparency en dedans, c'est ça, nous voulons aller en dedans, nous pas voulons côté cash ka ou aller avec tout le monde can just fait là, avec plein poche yo. Comment on mandi sing, eh ben comment on ina.
Mandish.
Right, point millions of dollars. Yo pas te ka way en les site la pièce, pas moi qui dit, untold stories. Le yo try interview, il ferme la porte li, motokai. Alors, ou vle di moi c'est ça Saint-Lucien vle moun tout blé yo pour faire pour vivre en dedans même qualité mal porté ça encore nous pas vle ça et nous ka tout bout pour ça nous vle aller en dedans new Saint-Just là bon après-midi.
Okay, we'll see. In the chat room, somebody says, no money? Calculate the salaries, allowances, travel expenses of government advisors, cabinet ministers, communications officers, etc., etc. Another call. This is NewsSpin. Hello. Good afternoon. You on the air?
Good afternoon, Tim.
Hi. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yeah, Tim. I'm calling on the engineer for the road. I'm not calling on no minister, Tim. An engineer, because to me, the chief engineer driving around St. just like we are doing, Tim. We are up and down, and the potholes, Tim.
Yeah, but the minister's driving on the road too, caller. Come on.
Yeah, the minister's driving on the road, but Tim, Tim,
no.
I give you a job, Tim, as an engineer.
We want to hear from the engineers. We want to hear from the ministers. We want to hear from members of the public. Because you see those ministers, hold on, those ministers in the run-up to our election, they are all over the place campaigning. They are on all kind of platforms complaining about the poor state of the roads, the poor state of the roads. So don't leave them out of it, caller. They can speak too.
Tim, what I'm telling you, Tim, I am not leaving them out of it. I am calling on the ministers to do the pavement of the roads. But in the meantime, Tim, we don't need the minister to go around and tell the engineer. There are certain potholes, especially approaching the city on the Millennium, which is as deep as a tomb. There are a pothole at the top of how you call that hill there when you're coming down from that hotel, the shock area, the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a pothole as deep, Tim. When you go down in that thing, you could feel your shocks, your tires are flying out, Tim. We don't need a minister to go and tell the engineers to go and block those holes, Tim. Especially those holes that is close in around the city. In full show here, they came into a lap and say because a lady called and she said the holes in Lapancy were so dreadful, and we need the communications to come across there. The following day, Tim, there was a bear. So it looked like it's when people call in, the engineer getting up on his royal and going and do what he's supposed to do. Yeah, I mean, Tim, if I'm an engineer, Tim, it would not take me a week to go around and block all those potholes, Tim, to get my men on the ground to block those potholes. The paving of the road, Tim, I will call on the ministers or the prime minister to pave certain roads, that certain roads need paving. That is the prime minister's job, that is the minister's job. But the basic things like potholes, Tim, I mean, an engineer could send a couple of men, go there, there are certain potholes approaching Car Street, approaching, Grocery Lane, going into Beaufort. Block those holes, because these are main roads, these are roads people using 24/7, Tim. Tim, and another thing, the one thing about the hospital, Tim, I don't care what hospital they give me. Whether it's new, whether it's second-hand, but just give me, they could give me a recycle hospital, just give us a hospital for the 5 years in the south. Whether people come and they figure they could think what they want to think, that the Solution Labour Party should give them a brand new hospital. I don't care what I get them. Once my people of the south, because my family live in the south, once my family in the south, I'm not talking from as a person from Cass region, I'm talking as a person from Beaufort. I have my family in Beaufort. So if anything goes wrong, don't let him. They are the one that got to be going to those hospitals. We are the one going to that hospital. So we need a hospital. Whether it is recycled, whether it's brand new, just I'm calling on the government to just do something, get the engineers, get Reno Kajada to get that bill, give him bill and finance, and Reno will take care of that, the finance after. But for the 5 years, we need that hospital. Thank you, then.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for calling. And I know many of you are commenting still in the chat room. I'll be going through some of those comments in just a moment, including your WhatsApp messages. What is up with the weather? You'll find out in just a moment as we continue our broadcast right here on Power 97.9 FM, on YouTube, and NewsSpin SLU, as well as our NewsSpin Facebook page. And we are also on TuneIn.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbute at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadhu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Electricity powers our favorite appliances and devices. But leaving your devices on or even plugged in when not in use can waste energy. Wasted energy that runs up your bill. When not in use, switch off, unplug, save energy, and save your appliances and devices. It's the smart thing to do. Saving energy is what's smart.
We heard you, and now we are answering. Elks City of Castries Cooperative Credit Union is happy to offer you, our valued customers, the most amazing deal to own your piece of St. Lucia. From now until December 31st, enjoy an interest rate of 4.5% with a deposit of 5% to help you purchase house and land only, or put up a structure on your existing property. And it gets better. Legal fees are included in your mortgage. Call us at 452-6820 or 453-2951 or email us at info@elkscreditunion.com. Terms and conditions apply. Elks City of Castries Cooperative Credit Union, building a stronger community, one member at a time.
Sunday, October 2nd, all roads head to the CPJ Car Park in Cul-de-Sac for the CPJ Food and Beverage Festival to kick off Creole Month. It's the best of both worlds with great tasting food, beverages from around the world, and music. Performances by Umpa, Shemi J, Derv Too Funny, Kuya, Ras Africa, Biz Your Band, Tedison John, The Secret Man, and your DJs, Levi Chin, DJ Pro Styles, DJ Baba Roots, Lychee Sounds, DJ Collation, and A1 Jugglers. Hosted by Ezra, The Fun Machine. Get your early bird tickets now for only $30 from the Cell and CPJ outlets. It's the CPJ Food and Beverage Festival, October 2nd from 2 p.m. to midnight at the CPJ parking lot, Cul-de-Sac.
I've been informed that the DPP office in the south of the island is also closed. And the office is to house the police prosecutors who manage the low courts, which is the magistrate court, and also the Crown Council Court, which manages the high court. So the DPP office in Castries, likewise the one in the south, they are both closed. On the weather, Tropical weather outlook, because yesterday we were informed by the director of NEMO of an approaching tropical wave, and that is to affect the island between today and also tomorrow. So your tropical weather outlook. A strong tropical wave will continue to produce cloudiness, moderate to heavy showers, gusty winds and thunderstorms over the Windward Islands and areas further south during the next 24 hours. This system has a high chance of tropical cyclone formation and is likely to become a tropical depression within the next 2 or 3 days. Some news there on the weather. Forecast for the Les Antilles, fair to partly cloudy with a few showers over the Leeward Islands. For the south, generally cloudy to overcast at times with scattered showers, which will be heavy in some locations, gusty winds and isolated thunderstorms. And we'll have more news on the weather on the Power Drive this afternoon with Divine. So stand by for that as we continue to provide you with information and entertainment right here on Power 97.9 FM. Good afternoon. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim.
It's not morning, it's afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Well, you know, I repeat, thank you. Let me tell you, Tim, I listened to you, right? And I listened to your first caller, right? Who is no expert on construction or engineer.
So, that disqualifies you
to
speak? No. Hold on. So that disqualifies you. That disqualifies you. You can't speak on anything to do with construction or engineering, right?
No. I tell you already, Tim, my brother, who's only 1 year younger than me, right, is a qualified architect, qualified.
So that makes you an architect. So if I have a brother who's a lawyer, that means I have a firm grasp on matters pertaining to the law. If I have a brother who's a lawyer, that means I have a firm grasp of matters relating to the law.
Your lawyer brother. I discussed with my brother.
Caller.
Okay. Anyway, let's go.
That's entertainment from you. Entertainment.
Tim, I listened to your caller, right? Firstly, and he said that there was no, and you also made the point that there was no accountant and so on to do a cost analysis in the team that was put together by the Prime Minister. Tim, an architect is qualified to cost a construction site, a construction building.
No, but I'm telling you, that was not the task that was given to them, caller. Because hold on. Because hold on, caller. Because the information they have there, they cannot take it to the special prosecutor, right? The special prosecutor cannot utilize that information to determine whether there was any kind of financial abuse as far as the project is concerned.
We were talking about what the cost analysis, whether it makes sense to continue what the former government started or to go back to the original buildings. That is the cost analysis I'm talking about. I'm not talking about bringing anybody to court. I'm talking about whether the costing made sense. Now, Mark Honeycutt, as an architect, did a cost analysis for the Medical and Dental Association in 2018, right? That cost analysis will not fall far from in 2021, 22. So there will not be that much of a disparity between the costs of 2018 and 2022.
Well, all right. On that particular issue, I would love for Mr. Mark Hennicar to call me on it. Okay, that makes more sense.
Let me finish my question.
Hold on, caller. It makes more sense to hear from Mr. Mark Hennicar than to hear from Shazi on that particular matter. If it's for example, to do a dress for a Miss St. Lucia Universe or some carnival person, I agree. I could speak with you on it.
You giving all kinds of a woman called a while ago made endless accusations. You let her talk and you never interrupted her. Because the accusation of this government, so it's okay for her to go ahead. You know? Anyway, I was saying, the facts are, Tim, what Alan Shasday built there, the former government built, is only 40% of the hospital. They still had to revert to the older buildings for laundry,
but the Prime Minister said is 30% complete. Now you're saying it's 40% complete?
No. You listen to me. I'm said when that building is completed, it will only be 40% of the entire hospital, which means they have to go back to some of the original buildings for kitchen, for laundry, and a number of other institutions for the hospital. Right? That's what he built there. Is only 40% of the entire St. Jude's Hospital. And the facts are there.
according to someone in the chat room again, Mr. Mark Hennicat as an architect is not a quantity surveyor, right?
No, you don't have to be a quantity surveyor.
No, he's not a quantity surveyor.
An architect knows the cost of every piece of construction.
Yeah, but he's not.
Cost.
Yeah, but he's.
What the cost of putting up any structure.
Yeah, but he's not a quantity. That's not his job. He's not a quantity surveyor, caller. He's not a quantity surveyor.
Even though you're not a quantity
Makes a difference.
surveyor, Tim, you still have a good idea of the cost.
It's not an idea we want. We want a professional. Maybe again, we had some square pegs in round holes. That's why we're in a situation with St. Jude Hospital right now, you know. With all those governments, all those prime ministers, and all those ministers of health. That's what you don't want to hear.
Qualified to cost a building or a house or anything of that. He's qualified to do.
That's not his job. That is not his job.
Because he knows the cost of everything.
Shazi, thank you so much for calling, and we'll talk again at some other point in time. All right. Let's see if we have a call online. As we say hello via WhatsApp, good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Let's see if we could get this call. I think we're having some difficulty getting this call on the air. All right, let's see if we have another call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Tim.
Good afternoon, sir.
And how you doing, Mr. Tim?
I am okay. How about you?
Well, very fine, Mr. Tim.
Let me hear you.
Mr. Tim, let me tell you something. You see the St. Jude controversy, the way I feel about that, it is time for the South to have a hospital. It could be under SLP, it could be under UWP, it could be under PPP, it could be on HIPP. Everybody have a right to go to that hospital. Now, the thing that is much more embarrassing with this situation is that we have an international airport in the South, we have a brewery, we have other sources of work and other sources of hotels in the South. So you're telling me that the South doesn't need a hospital? Right? Now, what I'm saying, the idea that the government is using now is not a bad idea, Mr. Tim, because you're using the whole sector of the building to at least continue the big box Chasney did. And his institutions are aware that big box institution Chasney did, that is 40% or 50% that have not been completed. So what you doing? You're going to leave these people in the stadium? You could use that whole existing hospital, which is already covered, because when the hospital got burnt, I was in the surgical ward. It took people, to give you a brief history, my mother was in Club 60, Amel Mafre, together with Miss Joseph. All people like the Ulysses' wife at Prale, Leah, Mary, to raise funds for that hospital. And the fellow who's now in the same portfolio, that was Mr. King, he was then Prime Minister. He served portfolio under Mr. Chasney, and he still kept the same portfolio. And nothing was done under him. So when Centurions are blaming him on one side, he cannot say that he cannot take the blame. Because he was a Prime Minister, he served in infrastructure, he still serves as that same thing there. But right now, I'm not in any denial of this putting the old St. Jude back in the thing there to remove the doctors in the conditions or the nurses or the nurse aides, whatever next, that they are working in there. Now, if this government don't want to step up, the people have the right to strike, you know. Man, we can just put banners, but strike doesn't mean that you have to go and beat people, huh? Strike doesn't mean that you have to go and insult people. Huh? Strike is just that you're going to give a warning sign. Let the government know that they need a wake-up call. We need a wake-up call. That is what these fellows need, a wake-up call. Now, one of the things that I've already said, and I made, that is my own observation, you know, or my own thing about it is that Stephen King, that portfolio is not fitting for you. So there, I feel Philip J. Pierre have to do a reshuffling. Because if you were in it for 5 years, you didn't prove yourself. You didn't prove yourself. You think it's now you're going to prove yourself, man? Now, if the St. Lucia government, Labour Party government, doesn't deliver, we have the right to put them out for the 5 years. Take it or leave it. We have the right to put them out. Because two things that the country needs right now is agriculture and health. Man, we have how many doctors which are qualified that could do the job of the thing, but because of the conditions and the environment, they have to travel to the Cayman Islands and any neighboring Caribbean countries. So what we're doing, we're losing our good doctors, our good nurses. It's not because of a salary more, but at the end of the day, if you don't get conditions which are favorable to where you're working, or even the environment, I'll give you an example. Team, you're working in the environment, you're working there, and things are not conducive or meeting to your standards, what you do?
I would resign, yeah.
I won't say resign, but you would maybe give them a wake-up call for them.
Before, yes.
That's it. So there, now what we have to do now, man, we are in an era where our leaders have to have a wake-up call. I was the one who said I supported Mayor towards it. I'm admired with our leadership. We need these men to stand up to issues. Look at other things happening now. They are still under Mr. King ministry. Look at what's happening to the Canadian farmers. Right? At the end of the day, you mean to tell me you all have not sent a representative?
That's not his ministry, I call her. He's not the Minister of Labor. The Minister of Labor is Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So, Mr. King, I am a humble man. Accept my apology because I know you could take it to task, but at the end of the day, accept my apology. But at the end of the day, look what is happening. Have these people ever talked to the Caribbean governments or even the 4 Eastern Caribbean governments, that is the representative in the same ministry that they hold in? Dominica, we talk about St. Vincent, Grenada, and send a team that could go and have an overlook or overdraft and to take it on from
But
there.
there's a representative. There's a representative over in Canada, and they're looking into that particular matter, caller.
Yeah, because we have 2 men. That is what we call leadership. We need to stir the boat. We need to stir the boat. We can't have fellas just there. They're barely getting big, and at the end of the day, people are suffering down there. Because when you look at the cost of living right now, it's very high in St. Lucia. And we can have the majority, or maybe we'll call it about 65% of the people. They have to take it hard to make an everyday living. And at the end of the day, we have these fellas laughing. So at the end of the day, these fellas have to give a wake-up call. And we need them to give a wake-up call, man.
Okay, caller.
So talk about 5 years, or Shaftney was there. It's not Shaftney there. It's y'all there. So prove yourselves.
Okay, caller. Thank you. Somebody says, I'm seeing a hospital outside my house, and it looks like the new version. Are you saying all the hospitals around the world are big boxes? I think this person is in the diaspora. Another call online. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Tim.
Good afternoon to you, Rick.
Let me make another plea on behalf of one of your chat room regulars. I mentioned her before. I'm hoping that by her name is a lady. But that's a very interesting name, Candy Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine more candy? Let's turn it around. Anyway, you gotta get a little laugh.
Yeah.
Tim, did I hear you mention a committee relating to St. Jude to advise the Prime Minister or the government or something?
Yes, Mark Hennicott. You don't know about this committee? Mark Hennicott helmed that committee. You also have Mr. Francis Chitoli, who is an engineer. John Peters, our good friend engineer, Cosmas Andrew, engineer,
all right.
And Moses Medrick, building contractor.
Now, I want to say this, Tim. Mr. Hennicott, I remember, you remember Neville Skeet?
Yes.
One of the most revered architects.
I think he was involved in the construction of the Darren Sammy Stadium. Yes.
Anything that's like good, he was involved in that.
Yeah.
And yeah, heavy Labour Party guy. Huh?
Yes, he was. But very influential, I'm told.
Oh, very.
Very.
But I can tell you from personal experience, he had no time for the partisan crap. He was for perfection. He was for doing a great job, and he would call out people who didn't do a great job. And he had a fantastic sense of humor. I think I mentioned that when he passed, and you did a little thing on him.
Yeah.
And he rated Hennicott as one of the best architects in the country, and his principles and everything. You would also know Harold Beausoleil.
Yes, I know.
That's another one of our revered architects. I mentioned them. So I want to tell you that I have nothing but good to say about Mr. Hennicott, both as a guy to talk to and even-minded and everything else and all that. But Scott was seriously involved with the construction of the hospital, wasn't he?
Who's that?
Endicott.
To my memory, I think he wasn't involved in another project in Soufrière. I can't recall him being involved in St. Jude Hospital.
You sure it is?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that he was involved in the St. Jude Hospital. I know he was involved in a matter in the Soufrière Square, remember?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if he was not, then I take back what I was.
I don't think he was involved in the St. Jude Hospital.
Jude.
The Soufrière Square. Remember that controversy involving the Soufrière Square?
I heard him.
Yeah.
But I heard him a number of times speak up for the St. Jude Hospital as was being built by the Labour Party. I heard him speak up. I heard him on Frederick Shaw and a number of other places.
Mm-hmm.
So we know definitely where he stood. I don't know if he actually was an architect there, but we know definitely where he stood on the hospital, on the shall I call it the Kenny Anthony Hospital, so we don't mix it up.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm thinking, also, our Prime Minister was Deputy Prime Minister at the time.
Yeah.
That thing that was not delivered.
Between 2011 and 2016.
Yeah. Okay. He's been around a long time. And I'm figuring out, and as for, let's deal with Endicott. Do you expect, forgetting integrity, I'm not impugning anyone's integrity. I have no reason to. But just to be realistic, does anybody expect that this government, Philip Pierre, or any of those people on his committee are going to come back and say to him, I think Alan Chasney's one is better. And so that's where we should put the time and money.
That is the ideal, but knowing the repercussions, I'm answering you. That's the ideal, but knowing the repercussions if you go against the wishes of certain individuals, and you can demonstrate that as well. You can attest to that, Rick. There would be some kind of fallout, and invariably, no matter what, you want to prove the person right. You want to do their bidding. You want to do something in their favor because of the fallout.
I mean, Tim, if I were was an architect, and I have spoken about how great the hospital was fine, and Laura was an idiot to measure the thing and all that kind of stuff. I'm on record saying all those things. You think I'm gonna? Can you imagine, even me who don't give a damn, that I would then come around and tell the Prime Minister, look, your hospital doesn't cut it. Alan Chasney's is much better, and in the interest of the people, I think we should go with Alan Chasney. I don't even think, even from me, you would expect that.
Not at all.
Because that's absurd.
Mm-hmm.
So the expectation, ridiculous. They might as well have just gone ahead and started working no committee. Because I was a little astounded recently as well. And as another guy I got a lot of respect for, I've had him on the show. As you say, he's our friend, John Peters.
Mm-hmm.
John Peters commenting recently on the roundabout up north, the new roundabout, whatever.
Yeah. The Rodney Bay project?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was EBS I had him commenting.
Yeah.
And saying that must have been designed by Star Trek. I
remember that.
Now, Alan Chasney is an architect. Guy is Joseph, not an architect. Neither is Stephen King was in charge at the time. All that. So it's who is he referring to? But his colleagues, fellow professionals, no?
Yes.
Or the permanent secretaries and so on, etc. I thought he went a bridge too far to, criticize the project and everything like a professional. But it seems to me you have another iron in the fire when you refer to it as a Star Trek creation. Is that far-fetched?
No, it's not. It's not.
But we are in a lot of trouble, Tim. And, I laugh. I try to keep a happy mood on things, see the humor in everything. But nobody expected this government to come in and say Alan Chasney's hospital was much better, looks much better, meets the demands better. Therefore, let's find something else to do with this other thing and go with Alan Chasney.
Well, call me naive. I never saw it from that perspective. I saw it, the St. Lucia Labour Party administration, all things considered, talking about lack of funds and the poor economic state of the country would just decide to complete the hospital and would just move on and transfer the patients, transfer the staff from the stadium and bring them into the health institution. And then the people of St. Lucia would applaud the government for that and would take all the credit.
I don't know about the people of St. Lucia, but I'm just telling you that we live in a particular place. We know the particular place. It would be self-delusion to expect otherwise, etc. Because for this Prime Minister, my friend, I'm saving you the time.
Yeah.
And the last thing you'd expect of him is to say the hospital we built was crap. And Alan Chastney is the one we should go along with. Now, I'm not saying one is better than the other.
Yeah, but the trend is, you're not ending it at all, because Alan Chastney said the same thing about the old structure. This is the old structure. We want to give you a state-of-the-art hospital. Let's go on and start from scratch. That's what he did. Okay?
Of course, they all do to him. But I'm saying at least now you have two to compare.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he hadn't built his fancy hospital at the time he was saying that. He just decided, and by the way, again, the people who make those decisions in our name, Jim, do we really have faith that these people are judging what's in front of them and not playing political ball, whether it's UWP ball or whether it's Labour Party ball? All I'm thinking of is the millions of dollars and what that could have done for the people are dying, the people are hungry. I'm wondering, how many millions have we sold? Well, yesterday we touched on that. Approximately, how many millions have gone up in this hospital, Mirage?
I would not be surprised if not close to $1 billion, Rick.
I mean, just think what we could have done with that money for the poorest of the poorest. Think what we could have done for people to eat and all the other things we could do. Because there's still no hospital, and what is going on? Suppose some miracle would have happened tomorrow. I fully expect Alan Chastney to stop work on the one they're doing there now. That is the trend, and the people of this country just accept that no matter what. We should have experts, recognized experts. We shouldn't have people we don't even know who they are. Do you really know what that committee was supposed to deliver? What their purpose was? Is there a report? Have you seen it?
The report, no. The Prime Minister has not made it public, no, but he has spoken about its content.
Has anybody told us what was their assignment?
The assignment was to determine the way forward, whether to continue, whether to continue with Alan Chastney's hospital or whether to go back to the old hospital. That's what it was.
So should I laugh?
That's what it was.
They were asked to when we know in advance that these people were all pissing on Chastney's hospital. I'm not saying Chastney's hospital was good. Hear me out. I ain't saying it was great. I ain't saying nothing about Chastney's hospital. I've never been there. I just know he never delivered, just like the other didn't deliver. That is what I say. But, when you get a group, the Prime Minister himself, you really believe a committee is going to come into the Prime Minister and say to him, and Richard, and King, boy, Chastney's hospital is great, man. The people will love us if we moved into that. And by the way, if they did, I wonder what the hordes of insects would say. Because the UWPs would say, oh, we knew all along, and these Labour Party guys, and the Labour Party guys would say, what the hell is going on? So we are doomed between these two monsters until we decide that this, it's not the system, It's the working of the system that is so self-destructive, and the system is us. We are the ones working the system. So when we're arguing on the petty crap, I can say $1 billion, Tim. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Let me turn my attention now to our NewsSpin news of the day. Our NewsSpin news of the day, very interesting. Hope you're not having lunch right now. Fecal philanthropist donates poop to save lives. And just to explain further with regard to our NewsSpin news of the day, once again, fecal philanthropist donates poop to save lives. Just a little bit more to this. Donors are compensated $50 per drop off, to cover parking and travel expenses. A London, Ontario man has a peculiar way of paying his bills. or collecting a bit of extra pocket change. He sells his poop and is not the only one. Essentially, you end up just pooping onto a plate and then scooping that into a collection tube and then dropping it off. It's as simple as that, said John Schmiel. Schmiel, who studies immunology and microbiology, said it's less about the money and more about saving lives. Healthcare professionals have put out an open call for poop donors at St. Joseph's Healthcare London, where fecal transplants have become a routine procedure used to treat potentially life-threatening C. difficile, a cause of antibiotic-associated diarrhea. This is not just a mild diarrhea. This is, as they would say, diarrhea from hell, said Dr. Michael Silverman, Medical Director of St. Joseph's Infectious Diseases Care Program. Part of that story, once again, our NewsSpin News of the Day, fecal philanthropist donates poop to save lives. And we go quickly into our final feature. That's a fact.
And that's a fact. And that's a fact.
How did people wake up on time before alarm clocks? How did people wake up on time before alarm clocks? The answer? Before alarm clocks became popular, British workers called knocker-uppers were hired to tap on windows to wake people up in the morning. That's a fact. The question, how did people wake up on time before alarm clocks? The answer, before alarm clocks became popular, British workers called knocker-uppers were hired to tap on windows to wake people up in the morning. And that certainly is a fact.
And that's a fact. And that's a fact.
And that's a broadcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening right here on Power 97.9 FM, as well as on YouTube, NewsSpin SLU, as well as on TuneIn. Thank you so much for your contributions via your calls and your WhatsApp messages. Continue to listen to us. Coming up next, we have the Power Drive right here on Power 97.9 FM. Goodbye.